Hey everyone, so super sunny day here in Sydney. Now I've taken delivery of my Model 3 for about 3 weeks now. Now today's video I'm going to talk about some of the defects and issues I found with my Model 3. Some of these things I found at the delivery appointment, and some of these things I found after the fact. Now I'm going to go through each of these, and at the end we're going to see whether or not Tesla fixes them. Okay, so the first thing I noticed was that the spoiler on the driver's side, at least in this right-hand drive model, it's not securely attached on one end. Okay, next we have the rear bumper on the driver's side again. This little corner here is lifting up. So the other side is actually perfectly mounted. So some clips maybe is missing here. Okay, so the next thing, again on the rear bumper, it's a bit hard to see on camera, but there's actually a very small dent right here where my finger is. If you look at the reflections of this white line on the ground, you'll see that the line is kind of straight and then it becomes jagged and then continues. That's exactly where that small bump is, about here. So it feels like there's something inside that's pushing out on the bumper. Alright, the next thing here is near the hood. Now this piece is on the side near the wipers, and it's actually loose and it's not actually connected properly. There's a clip inside. I tried to push it back in, but it wasn't going in, so maybe the clip is broken. This is particularly bad because every time you open the hood, this corner catches onto the plastic and basically pushes this piece further and further out. Now the piece on the other side is basically perfect, so maybe there's a broken clip here. Okay, continuing with the theme of the hood, we have this little plastic piece here just underneath the wipers. This whole piece was actually not secured when I got the car. It was just moving around, it was flapping around. I actually pushed it back in. Although I tried, there's still parts of it that is not secure. So you can actually put your finger underneath this and it's actually not clipped in properly. So again, maybe broken clips, but I've got to take it to Tesla and see what they do. Okay, so again, under the hood, this piece covers the 12-volt battery. There's actually a missing clip here. So if I take this off, it's meant to have these white clips underneath. I'm missing one of them, so that clip is missing. Alright, now with that cover off, we get a better look on the inside. I actually had an issue where there was no washer fluid coming out of that far wiper arm there. I thought I was crazy, but I tried it a few times. There was definitely no liquid coming out. And it turns out that this hose is where the washer fluid comes out. And if you follow this down, it actually goes down behind this plastic piece. It's only about here. There's a little nozzle. There's two nozzles, and this whole hose wasn't actually connected. So I managed to connect it myself and everything seems to be working. But good thing to check when you pick up your Model 3. Alright, so underneath the hood, on this stopper, there's a bit of paint defect. Now I think the hood is aluminium, so that may not be a big issue, but definitely something to check out as well. Okay, there is a paint chip here. It looks like someone tried to open this panel and then they scratched the paint. Okay, so continuing our trip around the outside, you actually see that there's a lot of excess window glue around this rear panel here. So I'm on the driver's side, so right-hand drive model on the right side. Take a closer look here. These black marks, that's excess window glue. Okay, hopping inside now. On the passenger side, so on the left side, there's a hole here. There's a dent in the wood trim. Okay, next we have the headliner up here. So this piece is actually not secure. If you look on the outside, you'll see there's a very big gap here, and you can actually see the cables inside. This whole piece is not secured. In fact, that spy webcam they have here looking at you drive, that's probably being blocked right now by this headliner. So that may be a good thing. But yeah, something for Tesla to look at. Okay, continuing with our internal theme, it's getting a bit nitpicky now, but there is actually a slight cut on the steering wheel cover here. You can probably see that there's a little bit of bump coming out there. There's a little bit of a cut there on this plastic bit. Okay, so there's a bit of plastic that's lifting up. It's kind of the trim that goes around the window. I think that's the seal that prevents water going down. So it's lifting up a bit on the driver's side, but on the passenger side, it's perfect. Okay, so that's about it for the defects that I found. Now, on the outside of the car, there are swirl marks and scratches all over the vehicle. Some scratches are deeper, some are not. I'm not too concerned about those because I am going to get this car ceramic coated. When that happens, they do a paint correction where they're able to get rid of the majority of the scratches and the swirl marks. Now, there are other defects that I found. So there are areas on the paint where there is a bit of dust trapped underneath the paint itself. Those ones are probably stuck there forever. I mean, I think to correct those, you have to repaint that whole section, which I think is a bit excessive. Okay, so I do have an appointment with Tesla in about a week, and I have noted down all these things that I found. And let's jump into the future and see whether or not they're able to address any of this. Okay, we are now in the future. Well, the present for me, the past for you guys. Anyway, time travel's difficult. Let's take a look at what they've done. Okay, the first thing, the spoiler. They have done absolutely nothing. They told me that was too spec, even though it is lifting up quite a bit. Okay, the rear bumper, the corner, they have fixed it. They said there was a clip that wasn't fastened. They fastened it, and now it's basically perfect. Okay, so the bump is still there. They weren't able to fix it. They were telling me that there was something on the inside that was pushing it out. They said it was potentially some sort of tow hook attachment in the future that was protruding out, and they actually don't know what to do with it. So I said this is not acceptable, and then they said they would escalate to their manager. So to be continued, I guess. Okay, the side plastic on the hood here, they have fixed it. It's basically missing a clip before. They managed to clip back in. It's actually quite tight now. It's not flapping around anymore. And when the hood does open, it clears this plastic piece completely fine. So that's fixed. Okay, so I told them about this plastic piece here and about how it's loose. I'm not sure if they did anything, but it seems a bit better. It's not, it's not that loose anymore. So I guess that's fixed. Okay, they have put back the missing clip. So the missing clip was here before. Now it's there and all the clips are back. Alright, so while I was there, I also mentioned the hose not being connected and how I had to manually connect it myself. They said I connected it pretty well. They said they pushed it in a little bit further and that was it. So, I mean, it was working anyway, but I guess they probably secured it a little bit more than I did. Okay, this paint defect here, they did absolutely nothing. I'm not too concerned about it, I guess. I guess this is an aluminium hood. I guess it just looks bad. But yeah, they did nothing. Okay, the paint chip next to this cap. I mean, they used some touch-up paint and they touched it up, but it's quite bad. I mean, honestly, I could have done a better job. This is another case of, if you want to do it right, you gotta do it yourself. Okay, the excess glue on the window here, they did clean that up. You actually can't see any of it anymore. Okay, that hole is still there. They said they were going to order this piece. It's going to take a couple of weeks to ship, and they'll let me know when it's there, and I guess they'll replace this whole wood trim. Now the wood trim is just a sticker basically, so we'll see how that goes. Again, to be continued. Okay, the headliner, they did fix this. That spy cam, the spy webcam can clearly see the cabin now, so yeah. So this is now secure. On the outside, you don't see a gap anymore. You don't see any of the wires. So yeah, they managed to fix that. Okay, that cut on the steering wheel. So it wasn't actually a cut. What it is it's a bit of excess plastic. So when they molded the steering wheel piece, there's a bit of excess plastic which they didn't clean off properly. Now they said that's how it was, so I guess they didn't fix it. I mean, potentially I could clean it up myself, but we shall see. So they didn't do anything here. Okay, the driver's side plastic, the seal around the window, they have fixed that. I guess they just kind of pushed it back in. It looks fine now, it looks the same as the other side. So yeah, they fixed that. Okay, so finally the scratches. There were a few scratches. I didn't record on the video because it was quite hard to see, but they did fix some of the major scratches that you could see very visually. Swirl marks, I mean, they're still there. I didn't mention all the scratches because I am going to get that ceramic coating, so I'm not too concerned. But yes, I guess scratches are the least of the problem because those things do come out. There are panel gaps. I didn't talk about them because, you know, like this one, this is probably the most severe one. The rear door and the last bit here, I think there's maybe 2 millimeters of difference. It's the same on the back as well, so on the other side as well. And I don't care too much about panel gaps. I mean, if before owning a Tesla, I never thought about panel gaps. So yeah, I didn't even mention that. But other than that, yeah, so that's what they've done for my car. So let's talk about my thoughts on the service and the actual, you know, what do I think about these issues with a brand new car. Okay, so I'm going to start by talking about the service experience. So I booked the service through the app, and that seemed pretty good. And then when you get there on the day, they go through the list of, you know, issues that you reported, and they miss basically half the issues that you reported. So I don't know what the point of putting in the app if, you know, they don't really read it anyway. And you can only put like 5 pictures or something, and then it kind of maxes out. So yeah, if you do book a service, make sure you go over it in person and make sure that you note down everything that you noted down, because, you know, it's very easy for them to skip it and basically forget about it. Now, they did address most of the things. I guess the easy stuff, the stuff that's like, you know, like the loose headliner here where they kind of just glue back in. All the easy stuff was addressed. The thing I'm most concerned about is that bump on the rear bumper. I mean, that doesn't seem right. I mean, they're telling me that there is something there that is forcing it out, but they don't know what to do. So is it like a design flaw? It doesn't seem like it. I mean, I don't hear many people talking about it. So hopefully they get back to me. I'll do a follow-up video once I hear more. You know, knowing Tesla, it might be months until they get back to me, or maybe not at all, and see if I forget about it. So we'll see how that goes. Now, do I regret getting this car? I mean, that's a very big question. A lot of people would be wondering that now. First up, I would probably buy it again. So before I bought this car, I read heaps of stuff, as most people do. Tesla's kind of like the new hotness, right? There's heaps of YouTube videos about it. And I kind of came in expecting some flaws. And then now experiencing it firsthand, obviously it does leave a, you know, a bad taste in your mouth. Getting a brand new car, and it's quite expensive here in Australia. And then seeing all these problems, right? I mean, I don't buy that many new cars, but the last one I bought was about 10 years ago. That was just a Mazda, and that seemed flawless when I got it. I mean, the paint job on that 10-year-old Mazda looks kind of the same as the one on this brand new Tesla. I mean, 10 years and it's got the same swirl marks as a brand new Tesla. So you gotta think about that. That puts it in context about the quality control of Tesla. It does seem like quality control is non-existent in Tesla. So it feels like they build it, they put it on a ship, and they ship it to you. Like, that's basically it. There's no final check. At least that's what it feels like, right? Now, everything they say on the internet about this car, I would say is generally true, both the negative and the positive. So the negative stuff about the build quality, 100% true. I can experience this firsthand. You know, it's not quite there yet. But the way it drives and the way that the technology and stuff, that is also true. So people, a lot of the times they forgive these flaws because of the way the car drives and the way it feels. And I do have similar feelings. I do think it's still a good car. I still like it. Now, I guess maybe the final straw would probably be when we start getting mechanical problems. If that ever happens, then I would definitely not recommend Tesla. But at this point, I would still definitely buy this car again. So we'll see how it goes, and I hope this was useful, and thanks for watching.